Welcome. I'm Bill Smurray, and we're going to do a podcast today on the Women's Expo coming up. And with me today I have Linda Gratton.
Hello, Bill.
Thank you for coming in.
My pleasure.
Debra, how do you pronounce your last name?
Highly
Deb.
recommendable.
Okay, thank you. And Sandra Taylor.
Hey.
And what I'd like to do, first of all, is start off, and I think I was going to pick on you.
I knew you would.
I know. And Linda, tell us, can you tell, okay, first of all, the Women's Expo is to highlight women in business.
Correct.
And you're all business people, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to have you discuss what you do in business, first of all. And then we'll get more generally into the Women's Expo sort of thing.
So I am a financial planner / advisor, and my job is to help people obtain their dreams. And I do that through investments, insurance, and estate planning, and some tax planning. I work with lawyers and accountants to make sure that the goals we set are achievable and manageable, and that at the end of the day, when we do retire, we're going to retire in the manner that we'd like.
Thank you. Debra, your turn.
Well, I'm a landscape designer by trade. I'm a indoor-outdoor designer, and one day maybe a fashion designer, because when you have a creative mind, anything is possible.
I think you're all creative to be in business. You have to be.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you have to think out of the box as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, come up with your own ideas. I know,
Yes.
I've been doing this for a while too. Sandra, what?
Well, I work with people that have sort of credit blemishes throughout their career or have come about hard times. I help them rebuild their credit, restore their credit, actually by using automotive financing. Car loans are the fastest way to help them improve their credit. And I always feel like when people are down, they need somebody that can help them, give them a little bit of consultation as to how to move forward, because I also had a financial planning background, and help them move forward that way, but then get them into a new ride and help them build their self-esteem and their credit all at the same time.
That sounds really positive, eh?
It's a lot
good.
of fun.
That must be very rewarding.
It's very, very rewarding.
And your
I have to say.
job too. Yeah, when you see somebody that's,
When they bring in gift baskets and flowers because you sold them a car, it's really makes me feel that I've done my job.
I particularly like when they invite me to the retirement party, and I'm there enjoying the party.
That would be cool.
Very.
Okay, let's move along here. Now, the Expo, the Women's Expo, like who came up with this idea? Why? And I know it's the second year, but who came up with these ideas? I mean,
Okay, well, it actually started with two individuals, Sherry Pierce and myself, and we're part of another group, PRO, which is a small business networking team or group. And Sherry was talking about women don't have enough exposure in the Peterborough area and the surrounding area, and she said, how would you like to start a group or a expo so that we could basically show the Peterborough area the diversity of women in the community, as well as how they contribute to GDP and in terms of employment. And I thought this was a fantastic idea, because I don't think it had ever been brought to anybody's attention. So we took this responsibility on, because we are proud to be Peterborough residents and Peterborough business owners, and we're not sure the community really sees all of us and all the different talents that we have in this community, and we wanted to share that so that we could get that message out, and this expo is doing exactly that. So anybody can come from any walk of life, and meet some of the entrepreneurs. We have 48 tables, so it's an exciting time where you'll meet business owners from different facets. There'll be a lawyer there, there's a massage therapist, there'll be retail business owners, a wide group of different individuals. But we also thought that this is our second year, so we thought we wanted to expand it a little bit and make it a little more inviting and have a little more activity. So we do have a fashion show which starts at 6:15, and we also have two renowned speakers, keynote speakers, Sharon Zahavi, and she's going to be talking about sexing up your brand. As you know, small business...
What was she going to talk about?
Sexing up your brand.
Okay.
And that's about, branding is really, really important in terms of a business. As you know, small business owners, that's probably the most difficult job, in my estimation, in the world, because there's so many facets of it. And as a small business owner, you initially do all the parts, okay, until you can afford to hire staff, and then start delegating it so that you do what you do best, and the other parts of your business will be, managed by people. And that's where we add value to the community by ensuring that we support the community by hiring people. The second speaker is Jason Chesler. He is a Peterborough boy, but he is an international speaker. And he's talking about uncommon results. And we're privileged to have him. And it's nice to have a local talent being exhibited at this exhibition. We also have a silent auction, which we will give some of the proceeds to the women's shelter. Anybody who comes to the women's shelter and picks up a ticket, obviously it's $5 to get in, and the proceeds from that will be 100% going to the women's shelter. It starts at 1 and actually ends at 8 p.m.
And the date?
The date is September the 26th, which is a Thursday.
Yes,
So it's a nice fall day. It's a good day to get out and meet some business owners and find out what's going on in your
sounds
community.
fascinating, it does. Now, Sandra, you said something earlier that I thought it was interesting about women being afraid to get into business.
Yeah, I always felt that, in my career, I've worked in very male-dominated fields. And I feel like a lot of women still don't have that, I don't know, some people behind them to push them to say, listen, you can do this. This is not a man's world. Oh, excuse me.
It's okay.
It's not a man's world. They're afraid to take that risk, or, they just don't feel like that they can do it. And so they're just scared. And, I have, like I said, have had a lot of challenges working with, in a male dominated field all the time, but you have to just poke your nose through and, just keep persevering. And like women, I think in general have so many different qualities to offer any business as an owner, because they are a little bit more compassionate, I think, with staff, and they are a little bit more creative as far as maybe how they run their business than just the good old standard, protocol. So I really want to encourage women that just take that risk and take that chance and start something on your own and the courage and have the courage to do
jump into the pool.
It is a scary thing, but I always remember someone saying that without risk is no success.
There's no gain.
There's no gain. So you can't be afraid to fail, because I've had businesses that have failed. So you can't be afraid to fail.
You can't succeed unless you fail.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, without.
Sandra, that brings up an interesting point. So I read a study, and it talked about, what are the skills for entrepreneurs in today's day and age? And there was two in particular. One was AQ, which I've talked about a few times at Pro. And it really is your adaptability quotient. And what that means is how fast do you adapt to changing circumstances, okay? How fast do you adapt to not succeeding, okay? So do you pick yourself up, and do you just kind of say, okay, brush yourself off and say, what are the things I can do better next time, okay? And then you unlearn some of the things you've already learned, because things are happening so quickly that unless you unlearn them and relearn them, and I'll give you an example in my industry. When you deal with insurance, you deal with standard and substandard, okay? And now London Life is moving to a new brand called Canada Life, okay? And now the terms are platinum and gold, and so I now have to unlearn my old knowledge and relearn the new knowledge, okay?
Yes.
It's the same sort of thing, but the language is now different, okay? So when entrepreneurs then get to the thing where, okay, we don't need to be an entrepreneur by ourselves anymore. We can't afford to hire employees. Okay, then EQ comes into play. Okay, and that is your ability to build teams and to look, if you will, at the long term. Okay, women have a natural propensity to be really good long-term planners, and so that is a real advantage in terms of planning and looking at the future. Also, profit for women is not the only motive. It's much more broader. I mean, yes, the bottom line matters. I can't deny that, okay, but it's not the only motivator for women, okay, and that has been my experience. I mean, I can't, but it certainly augments or confirms what you're saying.
Well, and to your point, when some young kids come in and want to buy a car,
Yes.
you know, they have that instant gratification thing that they want. They want that best car. They want that expensive car. And I always try to tell them that I'm not here looking at today. I'm looking at down the road for them. So, you know, if somebody comes in and says, I want a $10,000 car that has 200,000 kilometers on it, well, when you trade that in down the road, there's no value. Exactly.
Yes.
So, you know, you're right. Because I always think when I have someone in front of me, I'm thinking of not this car, but maybe the next car. I know it seems a little silly that we're talking about cars, but it is their credit that we're building at the same time.
It's also a plan.
It's a plan. Exactly.
Deb, do you have any comments on what we're talking about?
I was going to go after you. Yes.
Okay.
She's a little too quiet.
Well,
you were a target.
I,
What do you want to accomplish by this? What do you hope to accomplish by this?
well, it basically would be for the businesswoman. When I moved up here 25 years ago, I came from the city. I moved up here and everybody told me I would not succeed in business because
That's the best motivation going.
I said, you don't even know who I am. You don't know my qualifications. How can you judge that I will never succeed? I have managed 5 different businesses in 25 years because of my creativity. And I never gave up.
Best motivation going. You can't do it.
Yes.
So now I have a business in Ennismore called Stagecoach House by Woodsmiths. I'm inspired every day by a man that I met 13 years ago that gave me the inspiration and said, you can do it.
You can.
And I have done it because I've had the backing of my family and the support of my good friends, Linda as well. That has
helps, doesn't it?
Encouraged
Yeah.
me. And our daughters, we were the modeling mums that drove to Toronto for photo shoots and trying to find places in the middle of a snowstorm to encourage our daughters to follow their dreams and encourage them to be the women that they need to be as well. I only had one daughter. She's working on a private yacht, head stewardess, has a crew of 28 people that she manages every day and 22 staff. Guess 40 people on a yacht. I guess I did something right.
Yeah, and she'd have to do something right to be there.
That's right.
Yeah, because
I gave her a good education. I sent her to Lakefield College. She got the opportunity to meet people all over the world, and those people are friends.
And her confidence level must be like sky high.
Yeah.
Because of that, and that's confidence, right?
And I think women are good at that. Women are good at trying to boost each other and be there to help. Like, I think sometimes it's not as dog eat dog as, you know, men are competitive in sports and all that sort of stuff. And I think women tend to want to be there to boost each other and
Yes.
to help each other succeed, because we actually feel really, really good when a partner or somebody else in business succeeds. I think, you know,
I know,
versus
that's
just
a nice feeling, right?
Yeah.
Rather than the old jealousy.
Yeah, well,
they're
exactly.
They're doing great. Isn't that wonderful?
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yep.
know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just what do you think of that?
I think the biggest contributor of success is support. I firmly believe. I mean, obviously you have to have a passion, and you have to, be dogmatic about, like, no matter what, how many times you fall down or you get hit on the head, you stand up and you figure out how to keep going, right? And so perseverance, for me, as well as support, are the two really big and passion. I guess those would be the three, right? And the women here today, the ones that I asked to attend, have exactly that. Yeah, and they're honest and genuine. Okay, and those things, I believe you can't buy. You either have it or you don't.
You either have it or you don't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what comes around goes around, sort of thing too. Yeah. Dave, do you have anything you want to? No, not a thing.
Not right now.
Okay. Big help. Thanks.
Should
I'm playing
I
with sound gear right now.
should I mention
Yes, you
about
should.
the Women's Expo,
Yes, I want to talk. In fact, I want to really get into that. Like,
about the fashion show part of it?
yes.
Okay.
Debra, let's do everything we can.
Okay.
Here. Yeah. So let's talk about that.
Okay. I have been involved with a company that has asked me to be a stylist for them, which is Cabby Fashions. This woman is amazing. She branded this business 17 and a half years ago. It's a sisterhood where it's all women helping women create their own fashion looks.
Okay.
And-
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And her name is Carolyn Anderson.
And she'll be featured here at the.
Yes,
Okay.
her clothing will be featured
Okay.
at the Women's Expo. But she has designed an amazing line. I carried it in my store many years ago, and I couldn't keep it in the store because the quality and the cuts.
Quality, yeah.
You try a jacket on, it hugs you. It's breathable. It's everything a woman wants in their wardrobe. And the nice thing about it is it's how you wear it, and less is
Does it
more.
make you feel confident? Yeah, I know.
It makes you feel, when you get up in the morning and you put on her clothing, it makes you feel like you're dressing for success, because we all have different days and different moods. And if we put on that one piece of clothing that perks us up and gets our day started in the right direction, we can walk out the door with confidence and do our job, and help other people, make them feel good about what their lives might be that day.
And when you say a stylist, is it somebody that you could go to as a woman and say, geez, would you know what would fit me better? What
Yes.
would make me, like accentuate the parts of my body and hide the ones that I don't want to see? Is because
Yes.
I've been looking for one of them
Because
in a big way. Because I feel like I go to
Cabby
the
comes
store and
to
you put
you.
them on and you go like, ooh, and you see, oh, that looks okay. And then you get it home and you're like, oh, what was I thinking? They
Yes.
rigged those mirrors.
yes.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
I've
Well,
seen that
Cabby
before.
is a home-based business, and we come to you as stylists, or we come to an event so that we can show women how to dress for their lifestyles, whether they're a working mother or a soccer mother or someone who's just
Casual.
gone through retirement. My daughter wears Cabby. I wear Cabby. My mother's 80. She wears Cabby. It's something for everybody in this clothing line, because her fits are, she used to work for Nordstrom's and she designed a clothing line, and she didn't like how people were being treated at Nordstrom's. If you had money, you went upstairs to the VIP room. If you had no money, you went downstairs. No assistance,
basement.
nobody to assist you in creating
Yeah.
something for you. And she said, there must be a better way to shop for women. So she created this business, and she has 3,300 stylists in the United States. She actually has 160 women stylists in Canada right now. She just launched UK,
Okay.
which is amazing. She's international, and her clothing is
I
international.
love these success stories.
Yes. And I fell in love with it. And I sent a bag of clothes home with Linda. Try them.
True.
I taught her how to style them. I taught her how to wear them well. We don't need 5,000 pieces of clothing in our wardrobe. We need pieces that work with our lifestyle.
I want to add a comment to that, and that is, like, I do a lot of traveling, and so when you travel, you don't want to bring a lot of luggage. You know,
No.
the good old days where you had
Yes.
3 suitcases
45
wherever you
pounds
went,
of it,
and then you end up really wearing 4 or 5 of the outfits, but you didn't know how many you're going to wear, and you had a whole suitcase full of shoes. Okay, so with the cabbie line, what I'm finding is that you can bring three or four different outfits, like jeans, a dress, and a few other outfits, okay? And you have a whole bunch of tops. So you now have just a few items, okay, that can last you 2 weeks, okay? And so that makes your traveling experience so much better. And, you know, one of the things that, you know, I think women do is that they have so much clothes, they don't even know what they have, okay? And so how do you select what you want when you can't, you know, I mean, I know I've got quite a few pieces in my wardrobe that still have labels on them because I've never used them, right? And so I wanted to streamline. I wanted to make sure that I would wear clothes better, okay? And I wouldn't be stressing about what I'd be wearing, okay? I'd have a plan for the full week, and then I just go to that what I wanted to wear.
Oh, yeah,
and
I
that
have
would be
Monday,
it.
Tuesday, Wednesday clothes.
Yeah. And so that's and so if you know you have the cabbie line, then you can easily mix. And if you know you're not feeling that you really like that top, okay, then it's easy to switch a top without, you know, as I said, the adaptability quotient. It's a much less stressful situation. You're picking that item up very quickly and moving on, right? So yeah, and it is so comfortable. The clothing is comfortable, professional, and a joy to wear.
And casual too.
And you're looking at me.
Looking at you.
I don't know. What would you like me to say about that?
Just anything.
I love women's success stories. So I have a.
I love anybody's success stories.
Well, I do too. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you know, I think you know, a good strong influence in my life has been Linda since I've moved to Peterborough, and I met her. I also have a really good friend that's going to be at the Expo that has Kawartha Lakes Travel Plus, and she's a lovely lady that's had like 2 travel agencies, and then she sold it back to Travel Plus and then bought it back again. And you know, she was nervous at the time of, you know, do I want to own another business again? And she has been very successful at that. She plans weddings and stuff. She did mine, which was fantastic. And you know, I look at those strong women, and I think that if what I see the Women's Expo, and I hope we could get, is a lot of younger people or younger women there that we can show them, like visually, you can do it. You can be successful in business, and you know, these are some of the pointers that got us there, or these are the qualities that you gotta, you know, just pick up and not be afraid to try,
Like
kind of thing.
Linda said, you may fail a few times, but get up and.
Hey, yeah.
Without failure, you're never going to succeed.
Yeah, but if we also don't show our youth, if we don't show them the plan, show them the things that they can do and what they can become, then you know they don't necessarily see it. Do they know that
this isn't taught in schools?
No. Well, you know what? I'm honest to goodness. My biggest pet peeve is that math isn't taught in schools. I'm sorry, but I have kids that are 23 years old that have gone bankrupt. Because they go to university, they get credit cards. When they walk in the door, they're given, like, they have no job to pay these credit cards. They're just hoping their parents are going to pay them. Well, some don't have parents to pay their credit cards. And then before they know it, they're bankrupt at 23, which really starts their financial career in a horrible position. And it just doesn't start it off right. So I just think that when you have these expos and you have these, because they don't know that some women are behind these businesses. They don't know that a woman owns your business necessarily by looking at a name or. So showing our youth and teaching them that this is possible for anybody, really. Yeah. You know, that's what I think is important with these expos is to.
What I see at school is that the kids go take the courses to jump through the hoops, like instead of getting out and being creative, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And with my business,
I'm sure there's courses out there, but yeah.
with my business, I've learned everything by experience, which is
Yeah. Don't do that again.
no. Everything I've learned in my life and all the jobs that I've done, I always thought, why did I learn that? And why would I need this? And why did I move here in my life? And it's because if you create something from a vision,
Makes you feel great, doesn't it? Yeah.
You follow it.
you follow your dream. And that's what happens. Sometimes your dreams get broken. Sometimes we fall, but we get back up. And it's our jobs as parents, too, to encourage our children to follow whatever dream they have, because they are not us. They are their own person, and we have to back them in their decisions as well.
Back them, encourage them. Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
You're the adult, right? Like I
Exactly.
always think to
If we
myself,
don't teach
you're the
them-
adult. We need to back them up because that's what they're looking
If we
for.
don't teach them hands-on from this, they are not going to learn hands-on work.
I think Deb's made an important point, and if you look at, I'm a bit of a futurist, so I'll throw that out.
Nothing
there.
wrong with that.
No.
So if you look at the economy and where I think it's going, I've given you some indication about EQ and AQ, but I think that the service industry is probably going to be the fastest growing industry, and I think there are studies that would support my statement. So the jobs of the future are going to be jobs that are going to be created by individuals, okay? So the education system cannot change fast enough, okay, to meet the needs of the companies of the future, okay? And I don't think they're going to be large corporations as in the past. I mean, if you look at, Microsoft, okay, Bill Gates, I mean, he didn't finish university, okay?
No, he did not.
He did not finish university, okay? So what he did is he took some of that learning, and I'm not saying that that's not transferable.
Yes.
Don't misunderstand me, it is, okay? But then they used their ideas. They used
Yes.
what they thought their passion was and then created it, okay? They couldn't have learned that from school because it came from them. They were the inventors of those things. And I think that is the future. I really believe that. So I think whatever schooling you get is the first step, okay, for you to do your own learning, okay? And that is actually going to be the higher level of learning because it cannot be duplicated, okay? It is...
But do you not think that all the technology and the computers and everything is not making thinkers? Like
I agree.
you're making
Totally.
researchers,
Yes.
right? Like
Making
sure,
you're
you're sure you're on the internet and you're researching how to do this and you're researching how to do that. But where are they learning the life skills from? As Deb said, it's got to come from the parents or from people influential
Hands-on schooling.
people like these expos, trying to teach them, because the technology isn't teaching them to have that in their gut, right? Or what drives a person, or even like talking to kids and finding out what does drive them. Like any kid. It doesn't have to be my kids 4,000 miles away. So
exactly.
it's just any child and or young adult, and saying like what drives you,
Yeah.
What makes you feel passionate. Like what in life, when you walk through life, makes you feel that
What do you want to do?
Yeah.
that passion, right?
Yeah.
Because I did not have that.
No.
I grew up with a dad that was, Army, Air Force type thing, and government workers. My mom worked for, like a very structured place, and those days they didn't talk about money.
You're a real trailblazer.
They didn't talk about any of that stuff,
No.
right? So, they didn't even talk about higher education. Like in my generation anyway. So I always think to myself, oh my goodness, I didn't even know that kind of an opportunity existed.
I know.
Right? Like,
You never knew.
I didn't know. Oh my God, if I knew that, I would have been in pharmaceutical sales. but I just didn't even know those jobs or those things are out there
You never
to
even had
do.
a chance to turn it down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that we have to all be mentors, like
Yes.
to everybody and every young person that we meet, to give them that. And this platform with the Women's Expo, I believe, is a great platform for that mentorship.
Sounds like a good place for my granddaughters to be. Respectable.
Most definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
and remember, this expo is not just for women, okay?
No, I know.
Okay,
I was gonna say
I
that.
just want to...
Well, I'm going to be styling a couple of men at this fashion event too, because it's not just about women.
Yeah.
It's about how to dress your man to look just as good as you.
Sounds like my wife needs to be there.
Well, we all have our regular lives, our work lives, and our going out lives.
You know, this whole thing really just like this expo thing, promoting women. Like, I mean, I look at, you hear about some societies, right?
Well, they say,
Well, some societies where women aren't even allowed.
oh, yes.
drive.
So how does a society like that advance when half the people,
54% of the population, to be
54%,
specific.
isn't even allowed to contribute? How does a society like that, and this sort of thing is promoting, like just making life better for all, not just women, but everybody.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah, that's what it's all. That's what I really want to do this about.
You know, when I create a team and I work on some of the charitable activities I work on, because I think giving back to a community is really important, okay? I always make sure I have a diverse group, okay? And that means people that think very different. I don't want to surround myself with yes people. I want to surround myself with people that, you know, we're going to have...
Challenge.
Yeah, we're going to have a blue skying session. We're all going to kind of throw in our ideas and we're going to come up with the best solution. And if there's a controversy, then obviously the chair has the say and says, okay, this is the way we're going to go. And then people, I don't want people to buy into it. I want people to be part of it and own it. Exactly. And if I can get that consensus, okay, then I know that we're going to be tremendously successful. And that's what I try to do with everything, because I think it's really, really important that you don't see just one side of the coin, that you have to see all facets, because times are changing and there's so many variables, okay? We have to make sure that we understand as many of them as possible. And so that's really important to me. Most people don't think like that, but I think that's a
You have
formula
to see
for
both
success.
sides of the argument, or whatever
Yeah.
number of sides of the.
Yeah.
I know.
But you always get the best participation on ownership. If people feel like they have an ownership in what they've done, even one idea that's a part of that group, then when they have ownership of it, they're going to support it like there's no tomorrow.
Exactly, because it's theirs. Okay, they're all you know, if you will, leading the parade. Okay, and that matters to everybody.
With technology, our children, our star children, they came into this world knowing what it took us a lifetime to learn.
Oh, I know.
But they have no hands-on skills. My husband's business is custom cabinetry. He's put 33 co-op students through in the last 35 years of business. We have one with us at the present moment. And the 10 employees that he had are not doing it anymore because they don't know how to run a business.
Yes. It's,
They know the hands-on
you know,
skills,
I know how to do this,
but they don't know how to, the bookkeeping and the
having
the
good- or having good
everyday
people around you.
work.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And my mother told me to become a bookkeeper and business administration. I'm like, I'm an artist, Mom. I want to be an artist. Now I know why I learned bookkeeping, and I have to thank my mother for that because I can manage every part of the business.
I know. Financial tracking, right?
It is.
Yeah, I know.
If your business is not successful without your bookkeeper and your secretary,
Yeah, you can run any
They
business in
run.
the world, but you can't track the finances.
it
You're
pulls
done.
the whole thing
And
together.
then revenue. What's that thing?
What's
Revenue?
that place called?
Yeah.
Revenue count. Oh, yeah.
You owe like how much? Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And that's why Linda comes into place, right? It's like, okay,
Yes.
what can I do to pay the government less? That's for sure. But I remember my uncle, he owned car businesses and owned like 9 blocks of St. Laurent Boulevard in Ottawa. And he always said that the success of his business was because he had a silent partner that was investing, but he had a chartered accountant
Yes.
and himself. He was the sale guy, and his accountant handled everything else, you know. And if you have that core group that you can trust with your life, because your money is your life
You
that
have to.
way, then you can become very successful. And I mean, he had a grade 6 education. And, you know, he learned
doesn't
everything.
mean a thing.
It doesn't mean anything back in
No.
those days. Now,
No.
now today, that's a different story. I'm a firm believer in post-secondary education. even if it's the discipline. When I was hiring at Northern Telecom, I was hiring people. The whole point of starting college and finishing was not really what discipline you took, but that you started something.
And you finished it.
And you finished it.
Yes.
And, an good employer is going to hire somebody that's maybe a B student because they have some social skills, as well as they have the intelligence. Like some of these A+, super intelligent people have no social skills whatsoever because they've been studying for most of their life. But, I think that that's all education. Like everybody should go to post-secondary education, even if you don't use that particular discipline in your life. I think that it's a good practice because university, you know yourself, right? Grade school, they hold your hand. High school, they let go of it a little bit. But university, there's no one really other than you that is accountable, right?
Swim.
Like nobody's holding your hand and pulling you through. And so I think that, that's kind of an important lesson to learn as well, even if you don't use it in the future, right?
I think the one area that people are lacking, if you will, in terms of the education is their social skills.
Yes.
And that's their network.
It's because of this.
Yeah, that's part
It's
of it.
because of cell phones. Because
And computers,
and computers.
IT, all of it.
Technology is wonderful for helping you get your messages out there or communicating with your children on the other side of the world. But the hands-on skills are what this generation also need to learn, which at my business in Ennismore is I'm teaching how to be creative, how to work with wood, how to paint, how to make that piece of clothing work, how to upholster, just little classes which are not taught.
Not taught anywhere, I know. Yeah.
Now, I think the do-it-yourself society has its advantages, but it has its disadvantages.
Yes.
And that is, when I go back to social skills, okay? If they do it themselves, they're not talking to their parents. Like, one of the things that mothers used to connect with their daughters was, if they were raising a child, they would call their mother or go visit their mother and say, I'm having some challenges, okay? Today they go to Google and say,
Yes.
And so that social skill is being lost, okay?
Yes.
How many of us learned things from our grandmothers that we didn't pass on to our kids?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I
Some do and
Yes.
some didn't, right? Because we were all working, and so and we basically lost those skills as time went on, right? So that generational thing, is being lost, right?
Yeah.
And there's, nothing is more important than the people that you deal with than family and friends. Okay, it's the people that matter. Nothing else. Technology is
Face to
great,
face.
but at the end of the day, okay, what are you going to remember? Are you going to remember, that you went to Florida? No, you're going to remember the time you had in Florida with your friends. That's what you're
and
going
your
to remember.
family.
And your family.
And
right.
sitting down at a table and communicating
Yes.
without the phone ringing at the dinner table.
I've seen kids at the dinner table looking at their phone.
Yeah, well, I don't allow it in my house
Yeah.
because that part stays out of the house.
That's your time.
This is my home. This is our time. Put that away and let's have some communication. How was your day? What did you learn today? Or
Well, we've lost
Interaction.
We've lost the dinner table because
Yeah.
when I was raising my kids,
There we go.
we used to, we'd have hockey, we'd have soccer, we'd have horseback riding lessons. Okay, so we'd come home, we'd drop their stuff off, get them changed for whatever they needed to go to McDonald's, grab a hamburger, and off we'd go.
And they're done that.
And the time that we used to spend sitting at the table, say, how was your day? How was your day, Sandra? We don't do that anymore, right?
No.
Because we have no time, okay? And what we need to do is we need to make the time for the things that matter. People matter.
Well, and they've proven, like medically, right? A person who lives alone, does live a shorter life.
Sure, yeah.
Because whether you live with someone and it's a sexual relationship or a physical relationship or just a friendship,
Companion. Yeah.
that companionship, just somebody that you walk in the door that gives a hoot about how your day was.
We're herd
Just
animals, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just like it makes somebody just perk up. When somebody says, "How was your day?" Did that project work out for you, or whatever? And I always remember being told, "Don't walk in the door and just start talking." Walk in the door and say, "Hey, how are you?"
Yeah.
With a big smile on your face. let everybody decompress and then say, did you have a good day, and stuff like that. Don't walk in the door and say, well, what did you pull out for dinner? Like, you've got to be a little bit more just
Considerate.
Compassionate?
Yes.
Is compassionate a word? I don't know.
Yeah, I like that word.
Well, I don't know. My
Understanding?
husband had to do a 360 when I took on this job because I work like 12-hour days and I'm never home.
He
so
has to be supportive,
I come
okay?
home, he is, and he's so supportive. I come home, he makes my lunch, he makes my dinner. And he has a job. He's a physical job. He's a contractor. So he has a really super physical job. But nothing makes me feel more special than when I hear him bustling in the morning while I'm putting on my makeup and he's making my lunch. I just love it because he's been so supportive for me. And my job is very roller coaster, much of a roller coaster. You have highs and you have lows, and some people's story really hits home when they've lost family members or they've had children that have gotten sick. Like, a lot of people don't realize some of their financial challenges have been due to unforeseen circumstances, which is why
more common than not.
Which is why, like, ever since I've been with Freedom 55 with Linda and knowing her, my grandchildren have critical illness. I tell everybody who loves their grandchildren have critical illness on them, because I've seen a parent who not a malignant brain tumor, but a brain tumor in a young child. Mm-hmm. Would you not love to have 50 grand so you can just tell your job, I'm taking a leave of absence and just go and take care of your children? But they don't have that, and then they suffer horrific financial. I've known some, lost their house, lost everything because they needed to take care of their child. And so a lot of those,
management needs to be when financial consideration, risk management needs to be a big player in that scenario.
I finally convinced my daughter through Linda to take life insurance out on children, because everybody's like, oh God, why would you think of death when you've got a baby? You're not. You're thinking of their future.
Thinking of their future, exactly.
You're thinking of their future. You're setting them up for success, like financial success. And that's my big thing, is that when I see people come into my office, sometimes the circumstances are horrible that got them into those credit challenges. They need to be treated with respect. They don't need to be treated like they're less than a member of society because they have bad credit. And people feel that way. When people go through a bankruptcy, it's devastating for them. And I've seen them from 50, 70, 40, 30, and
20,
and that makes that's my passion, is to say, like, to treat them like they deserve to be treated, not because of their circumstance, right? Not because they have bad credit, and not, and let them know that I can be trusted.
We good to go, Dave?
We're good to go.
Okay. Where were we? Sorry about that.
No worries at all. No, I think I said, what I wanted to say. I just always want to make sure that people are treated well. I think that everybody talks, whether you are religious or you're not religious. I consider myself a fairly spiritual person, but I also believe in one commandment, and that's just do unto others as you'd want to have done unto you. And if you treat people with how you want to be treated every day, you really can't go wrong. I think more people have to take that positive sort of approach.
I think, we talked about making mistakes and picking yourself up, okay? And financial, challenges are one of the toughest to overcome, because we do have an image of how life is supposed to be, okay? And that it's supposed to be an upward track, okay? Yeah. But the reality is, it's volatile.
Mine's
okay?
like this.
Yeah,
it's a curve
because
all over.
You get married, you get a divorce, you get in a car accident. All those things, okay, inhibit the plan that you had, okay. And the way you manage that, you say, okay, well, we're going to put some risk management into play to make sure that those challenges will be less damaging, okay. But the reality is that they're still going to hurt, okay. And bankruptcy is sometimes the right way to go. Proposal is sometimes the right way to go, because that way, you deal with the problem, okay, you pay the dime, okay, and then you move forward. Okay?
There's really no shame in it.
No, there's absolutely.
But there is a shame on it. So it used to be a day when you went bankrupt that you couldn't own anything for 7 years. Now you can go bankrupt and you can own a car the next day, okay, because a lot of people lose their car in that bankruptcy. A lot of people's idea of having a $50,000 car is what creates their bankruptcy, right? You know, a lot of people and a lot of kids, I think today, like they don't realize their parents had to work so much to get to that level that they got used to, and then they want to leave the home and they want to have, like, I want that, you know.
Yes.
I have a young girl who's 18. I put her into, you know, a car, and it's like, oh, but could I get another car? Well, of course you can, and that's the start, right? But she went for something less expensive, right? And just build it. But so many kids, and even at Northern Telecom when I was there, like we had kids that were coming out of university and buying $400,000 homes at the time, which is a long time ago in the 90s, and didn't have a stick of furniture in them because they had to have that image. I think that
Lifestyle.
like you say, that image, and bankruptcy has such a horrible connotation to it. But when they come and see me and they're going through a bankruptcy, I'm like, listen, sometimes you just have to do it, shake it off, start fresh.
What can I learn from this
Exactly.
experience, right? Because if you
Exactly.
learn something, okay,
Then it wasn't
No, it wasn't in vain.
Sometimes you have to back up to go forward.
Sometimes you do. I've started over a few times myself, right? I thought I was going to be at Northern Telecom for the rest of my life, and we all know what happened to that company.
Well,
but
and we know that,
Yeah.
you know, if you expect to stay with a company and get the golden handshake, those days are over.
They're
okay? So
over.
you have to take care of yourself. And so you're likely to have 6 to 8 careers in a lifetime. You know, my husband was in manufacturing, okay? Of all the sectors, okay, manufacturing is the worst sector to be in because it is on a downslide, okay? And for various reasons, technology, IA.
but our parents, they had those jobs.
Exactly.
They were
Yes.
30 years. You know, when I have a
Yes.
credit application come across my desk and someone says, oh, I've been there for 30 years. I'm like, what?
A job for life.
Like, holy
Yes.
moly. You know,
Yeah.
I've never known anybody to have a job for that
People
many
used to have
years.
jobs for life.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And job security was the top thing on any contract negotiations or anything like that with
There's
unions.
something you don't
and-
hear anymore.
No.
Yeah.
Job security
Yeah.
doesn't exist.
No.
Doesn't exist at all, and that's kind of a shame. But I mean, having those different careers in my life have made me who I am today, I guess. But
And guaranteed pensions. And,
Oh, dear, yeah,
Yeah.
no.
I mean, those
That
are long
doesn't-
gone. You know what I mean? So you have to make your own, okay?
you know, I read an article, and it was a scary article, but basically it said that if a Canadian can finance it, they'll buy it. Canadians themselves finance more than any other country in the world, and for every dollar that they earn, they spend $1.50. Used to be $1.07.
I thought it was $1.30 the last time I looked.
It's almost $1.50. It used to be that they were $200 away from flat out broke. Now they're $50 away from flat out broke. Most Canadians cannot afford a catastrophe in their life. They don't have 3 months savings. They don't have the ability to change jobs, or so they stay in that horrible job that they're unhappy and ruin
They're
their
locked
marriage.
in.
They're locked in because their debts have
Because
locked
they
them in.
don't know how to manage money.
So we'll wrap this up.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to wrap this up. This was I'm Bill Smurray, and today's program was on the upcoming Women's Expo, and I'm going to do this again on September 26th at the Peterborough Curling Club or the Stonehouse Hall from 1 to 8 o'clock. Everybody's welcome, and it's going to feature women entrepreneurs, business people in our city. And with me,
And surrounding area.
and surrounding area, okay. And with me today I've had Linda Gratton and Debra Hiley and Sandra Taylor, who's had to leave. She had an appointment she had to go to. And now, and thank you, David, for running the thing again.
Yes.
Yes, David,
thank
thank
you.
you.
And thanks for watching and listening, and bye for now.
You mean we'll be watched too?